Okay, well, we're going to step back a little bit because I don't just like stories with that kind of involvement. Will's company, Arena, has got some fabulous geography in the middle of the Porphyry Belt in South America. He's got some great partners, and those partners are doing a hell of a lot of drilling. This is a company that's going to be generating the news and more news over the next few months. And could basically pull a rabbit out of a hat at any time. It's a very fascinating story, and I'm going to let Will tell it.
All right, thank you very much, Eric. I'm Will Randall, President and CEO of Arena Minerals, and we'll just go through. Basically, I'd like to start off with a little bit of the history of the company. It's kind of important to know how we got the property and where it came from. We put the company together about 3 years ago now, essentially to take advantage of a series of relationships and contacts that we've been building in Chile over the last 10 years, and in particular with SQM. SQM is a large industrial minerals producer out of Chile, formed out of government in the 1980s, just after Pinochet. And as a result, controls about 4 million hectares in northern Chile that have never really been explored for copper and gold. And in particular, the area that we were able to option, which at the time sat at 300,000 hectares, right between Spence, Lomas Valles, Mantos Blancos, Sierra Gorda, etc., and Antofagasta Minerals deposits around us as well. So it sits in the heart of the copper mining district and had never been subjected to one single drill hole that went deeper than the overburden. They mine in that area the caliche layers for the nitrates that they then combine with the potash that they take out of the salars and produce a potassium nitrate, and do very well with that business, but do not have any need to go further down past the overburden. We optioned the property in 2013, mainly as a result of a shift within SQM's focus. They were trying to get some value out of the metals. At that time, they were trading at something like 12 billion, and they figured that by allowing juniors and other explorers to come in, retain a small percentage, and more importantly an NSR, down the pipeline 10, 15 years later, they could create some value out of their metals. And we were lucky enough to be one of the first companies through the door. SQM has notoriously been inaccessible over the last 20, 25 years, including right after the Spence discovery. And we were lucky enough to be one of the first companies to come to negotiate with them. We secured the property, and we'll go through the terms in a bit. But what we did over the subsequent year and a half, is we wanted to narrow down 300,000 hectares into targets. And we obviously did all the data compilation, all the desktop work, and spent the bulk of the year actually going and covering as much of that ground as we could. We formed teams of geos and prospectors and sort of rewound the clock and did some real groundwork. And as a result, we found 12 areas of interest, which are now become 9, and which was far more than we expected to find, a lot more hectares that we would need to cover with drilling. And at that point, we were sitting at an under 10 million market cap, and in this market realized that it would be very hard to finance the 20 to 50 million that we'd need to properly drill out these areas. So we decided to go down our list. A lot of people had shown interest in the property since we signed the deal. And we decided to find partners, divide up the ground and find partners to do the exploration for us, still retaining at least a 20% of each of the blocks, which is a significant increase and value if we should find a discovery. These projects are several billion-dollar projects, so it still gives us a huge amount of upside, and the shareholders a huge amount of upside, and we don't have to spend any money doing it. It took us about a year to complete the deals. We did 3 deals. We started off with B2 Gold, followed that with JOGMEC, which is the Japanese government-run company, and then the last deal we did with Teck just a few months ago. So I'll keep going through the presentation. This is what the company looks like right now. We have 80 million outstanding and 99, almost 100 million fully diluted. We have about 1.3 unrestricted cash. That's our own cash. Our actual cash balance is significantly higher. We have a lot of money in there from JOGMEC and the other joint venture partners. And we're sitting just under a 20 million market cap. Our major shareholder is Ross Beatty and ourselves, the management team. And SQM completed a private placement for 5% as well as Tech, I guess it was last November. They got 5% of the company. Interestingly, the cash position, as you'll see as we go down here, we expect our cash to actually increase over the next 2 years as the payments from the joint venture partners come in, and we'll go through that in more detail. So we put ourselves in a good position in this market not to have to go back and raise money at least till July 2017. Here's the property as it stands now. As I said, we pared it down from 300,000 hectares to 100,000 hectares. You can actually see the outlines of all the pits around it. There are about 800,000 tons of annual copper production from within 20 kilometers of our property. So we're in the heart of the producing region, Antofagasta, northern Chile. And as you can see, there are 3 joint ventures between 20,000 and 30,000 hectares each. And when we go through the deal, they also have to pare down the land and give us back land as we go along. The collective spend over the next number of years is US 56 million. So we'll have a lot of drilling being done over the coming years. This is the underlying deal. So this is the deal that we did with SQM. And as you can see, we pared down to 50,000 hectares, of which each one of the joint venture partners will have 10, and will remain with 20,000, 100% owned by us. We still have 4.5 million to spend in the ground. This year's spend is 6.4 million from our joint venture, so we're well covered in that regard. And as you go through the cash payments coming to us or to SQM on behalf of our joint venture partners, we're more than covered in the cash payments as well. So we've removed completely the risk of not earning into our option. I've put all the 3 joint ventures into one single chart here. So it roughly, each one works roughly the same. They earn into 60% of the project. So the final composition is 60% each one of the joint venture partners, 20% us, and 20% SQM. That's how all of these look. Combined to do that, they got to spend 14 million in the ground, pay 1.3 million to SQM, and we get $4.5 million in payments. That gets them the first 50%. For the next 10%, the spend increases to 12 to 15 million, and they carry us through to completion of pre-fees. And at that point, we'll have a significant document that we'll be able to contribute going forward. The other important component here is the JOGMEC joint venture we operate. The other 2 are operated by B2 and Tech, who are a lot better at doing their job than we are. So we're happy with that. It also gives us a great opportunity to have 3 different sets of mines trying to find these copper porphyries, so it increases the chance of success. The JOGMEC one we run, and the significance of that is that it covers all of our operating costs in Chile for the next, as long as we run it, so for the next 7 years. And we take a fee on that as well, which covers a large portion of our Canadian overhead. So we've got a really, really low spend per month going forward, which is why when you get all the payments coming in, our cash position actually grows year over year. So actually everyone's been very active on the property over the last few months, and that will continue going throughout 2016 and 17. We'll start with JOGMEC. That's the one that's been most active. We ran an exploration program, the first phase, as we call it. We basically covered everything that's in green in a 3 or a 1.5 kilometer grid. That was 83 drill holes. We've only received the results for the first half. And in that half, we did have a successful area, which we're calling PURC39, which was the name of the drill hole. And in that, we did intersect the pyrite halo of a porphyry system with classic alteration. We went through a silica cap. It's a 500-meter porphyry system at depth. And we will be following up around there to try to sort of vector into the actual intrusive and see what the mineralization looks like. We're having results on the other 2 blocks that should come out next week or the week after. So definitely over the next 15 days, you should be seeing news and with some good stuff in there as well. And we also announced that we'd permitted another 281 drill holes to follow up on the drill results. Obviously, this is all done with JOGMEC, and they've agreed to fund that exploration. So they're well through their minimums already, and we'll continue to explore. The 281 drill holes will focus on following up on this area 39, another area, and infilling the 3 kilometer grid to 1.5 kilometer grid. This is just a quick concept of what this hole means. While we didn't hit the intrusive porphyry, it gives you a good idea of how close we think we are. And by following up on the drilling around it, which is expected to start in 2 or 3 months, we're hoped to vector into the actual intrusive. Tech's also been very aggressive. We signed that towards the end of last year, and they've got 2 drills on the property right now. We expect to get the initial results from them over the next month, or hopefully sooner, but month for sure. And lastly, B2 has their copper crew on the ground right now in that southern block, the big red block, and we'll get drilling towards the end of Q1 is my best guess at this point. So we'll have another set of drills on the ground towards the end of, say, March as well. And yeah, so that's almost out of time, but basically the basic concept of the company here is we're going to be one of the few companies exploring for copper in Chile, spending a lot of money. It's not our money. We get carried all the way through to pre-fees, and by getting 3 different groups to do that, we've increased our chance of success, and it's sitting at a 20 million market cap, that's a huge delta if we are successful. Thank you very much.